Notification.com, and this is my Smart American Accent training. Welcome to our live Saturday question and answer class. Please feel free to put your questions in the chat at any time. And at the start of class today, we're going to take a look at fluent speaking, linking, connected speech, using the phrase, "What do you want to do today?" And we're going to talk about the different ways you can say this, how you can link it, and how it sounds different in spoken fluent natural speech versus how it looks in writing. So let's get started. Looking at this phrase, the reason that we have parts of the phrase that are linked, that are faster, and that might have reductions is because in any phrase that we're saying, some words are going to be stressed and more important. They're going to be clear. They're going to have their full vowels. We'll hold them for longer, and other words are going to go by more quickly. They're going to be linked together, and they're going to be reduced. So if we look at, in this phrase, what do you want to do today? Our content words are today, do, and what and want. But the rule is we're going to be stressing the content words that come nearest the end. And in this case, actually, we're stressing on the word do. So do is going to be long and clear, and it's going to have the true vowel. If we wanted to build this, I'll talk about backwards chaining, but as we go, what do you want to do today? We're going to link this together. So what do you? It may sound a little bit more like what do you? So what's happening there as we link what, do, and you is that the oo of do loses its clear vowel. So it sounds more like whata. And then for you, that may also lose its clear vowel. It might be whata ya, or what do you. I'm going to write it as ya. You can also use a true oo here. What do you want? What do you wanna? And then often in want to, we lose the T's, we drop them, and the oo, just like this oo became a schwa, an sound. Same here with this oo. What do you wanna do today? So what do ya wanna? And then the do, unlike this do, which was an unimportant supporting do, supporting verb that lost its clear vowel. Here, what do you want to do? What do you want to do today? Do today. This doesn't lose its clear vowel. It's our stressed word. We're going to hold it a little longer and use that clear vowel. And then the word today, in all contexts, is also going to have a schwa here. We don't say today, but rather today. Which you can write this way, or sometimes I like to write it like that. So you think of today as being nice and short. To get this to sound fluent, to practice with it, how I'm going to do it, I may want to break it into little chunks. What do you want to do today, etc., so that I can get each of those different reductions. I can also do what's called backwards chaining, where I'm going to build from the stressed word. That would sound like saying do today, want to do today, you'll want to do today, what do you want to do today? You can also try saying this a little bit more slowly, but keep the rhythm, keep the relative rhythm. So it may be harder in some cases to do the reductions if I say it more slowly. I end up saying the clear words, but let's try it a little bit more slowly and then build up speed. What do you want to do today? 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 So even in an everyday simple sentence like this, a lot of different changes and reductions. In this case, this is perfectly acceptable to say in professional speech in all contexts. It's not slang, it's not rude. The only thing that is we wouldn't do is we don't write it this way. We don't write wanna. We write want to. We might say, "What do you want to do today?" So that's another way where I can do want to. What do you want to do today? If wanna sounds a little bit too in precise for you. That's another way that we reduce it and link it. Great. You can get more help for all of these different patterns, more sentences and reduction, shadowing practice for fluent speaking on my playlists here on the channel. I also cover these kinds of topics in my American Accent 6-week course, and then my specific course for advanced fluent speaking is called Real Talk. It looks at words, patterns, sentences, phrases, and how you can use TV and movies to imitate and to implement this technique of Real Talk to have that fluent speech. And you can check out all of the online courses on our website, speechmodification.com. Okay, thank you so much. I'm going to take your questions now, and also please feel free to put your questions in the comments in the chat now live at any time, and I'll turn to those. You can also put questions in the comments if you're watching this later on as a replay, and I'll come back to you with answers and resources for your questions. Welcome, everyone. It's nice to see so many of you here. I hope your weekend is off to a good start. Our first question is about the word strategies. So strategies. We have first syllable stress in this word. Letter A says the A sound, like in cat. So we have stra. And then this middle T is going to sound like a flap in American English, strata. The E is going to be a schwa sound, sounds like Is the case where letter G says the J sound, like in gentleman or jump. And then the IE says the E, the S says Z. So it sounds like strategies. Strategies. We have several strategies for how to pronounce that. Yeah, good word. Thank you. Hope that helps you. We have a question about present, presentation, represent, and representation. Sure, I'd be happy to cover that for you. So let's do that. We'll do, so present as a noun, I'm giving someone a present, or as an adjective, I'm present at the class, is going to be first syllable stress, and it sounds like present, where we have the clear vowel here, and then basically a schwa or no vowel in the second syllable, present. When it's a verb, the stress changes to second syllable, present, and then we're going to have an I sound or an sound, really short reduced vowel in that first syllable, and then our clear vowel is going to happen in the second syllable, present. So that's for the verb. So I'll present you with the present. The present tense is when we present the findings. Okay, and then when we change to, what else were you asking about? When we change to presentation, we get the stress, we have follows a similar stress pattern to present, except that the main stress is going to fall on the Asian syllable, the A, presentation, which means that because we're stressing the syllable here with the te, this T is going to be a true T. So it sounds like a te-shun. And then we have our short presentation. So we still have secondary stress in this first syllable. We still have the there, present. Actually, I would write this more like this, present. The zn syllable is unstressed, has a reduced vowel, presentation. Then when we have represent, it's also a verb, and it's like the verb present with a little represent, so it sounds like represent. So we have some secondary stress here because we have the clear vowel. We go back to our pr or pr, represent, very reduced vowel on the pr syllable. And then when we have representation, we go back to the reduced zn sound. So representation, just like presentation, stressing on the te. So all depends on the stress in those various words. And you're right, a lot of changing and switching around where the clear vowels are and where the reduced vowels are. Great, those are excellent words. I do have a video for present and present, as well as a number of other videos talking about noun and verb stress to help you with those changing patterns. And I may have videos for the others as well. So if you need more details, you can always go to the channel page, use the search box tool on my channel and write in your word. And any videos I have related to that, that word or similar words will pop up and you can check that out. You can also leave me a question in comments and I'll redirect you to specific videos. Thank you for that question. Nice to see a channel member here today. I'm glad you like the linking and reductions classes, and I hope you've checked out our full playlist for linking and reductions, and also, of course, our member videos that talk about those details as well. We have a question about superior and superiority. Also another pattern of words where the stress changes, so the vowels change. So in superior versus superiority. Here we have stress on the peer syllable, so letters ER say ear. It sounds like superior, superior. As we go from the E to the don't forget our vowel to vowel linking. We have a little y sound in there. Superior, superior. You can use a little bit of an oo, superior here, but because this first syllable is unstressed, when I say super, I have a clear oo. When I say superior, superior, not so much of an oo, more of a reduced vowel there. And then superiority is stressed on the or syllable. So same idea, we have superior, or, and we again have vowel to vowel linking here, eor, there's a little y that shows up, or, ity, flap T here for the end. Superiority, superiority. Superior, superiority. Not easy words, definitely with those R's jumping back and forth where our stress goes, the vowel to vowel linking, all of that makes those words fairly challenging. So thank you for bringing that up. I'm sure that'll be helpful for other people as well. Great. Okay, let's turn to some more questions. We have a question about gastroenterology. So gastroenterology. Main stress is on the of ology. We have kind of a pattern here of alternating syllables. So gastroenterology. A little secondary stress on these syllables. Letter A says a, like in gas. Letter O says O, so we do have a clear vowel there even though it's unstressed. Gastroenterology. Gastroenterology. Yeah, long word. So basically, I think breaking it down, going slow, syllable by syllable, but try to keep that clear vowel and main stress on the ology. You can also build from the ology, like ology, enterology, gastroenterology. That can help you kind of to sequence those and to be able to get that rhythm, those clear vowels where they belong, and just to feel more comfortable and natural saying such a long word with all of the correct sounds in it. Great. Okay. I do have a medical words playlist. I believe I may cover that word on that playlist, but you can also check out that full playlist for other help with medical words. Okay. We have a viewer saying, I often hear Americans say this word like there's an I in it. The word is both. Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, so are you feeling like you hear it, the I for the O letter, both? Yeah, I'm not sure why that you would hear that. It both basically has the O sound. and the TH sound. So both. We're both going. They both believe that. Do you both want some? Yeah. Maybe you can do a follow-up comment and let me know kind of where you're hearing that I sound or what you mean by that. Great. Okay. We have a question about I'll be back in a minute. So I'll be back in a minute. Stress here, main stress is on minute, first syllable of minute. So I'll be back in a minute, back in a minute. We link this together. I'll be back in, so we kind of sound like back in. And then we also link in and together. Kinna. I'll be back in a minute. So I would build this from minute to practice it. Minute, a minute, in a minute, back in a minute, be back in a minute, I'll be back in a minute. And notice if I'm not stressing on I'll, I don't have a really strong I diphthong there. It sounds a little bit like I'll be back in a minute instead of I'll be back in a minute. Not wrong to say I'll be, but it kind of, if I say that with that clear vowel and length, it's going to sound a little stressed, like I'll be back in a minute rather than you'll be back in a minute. Yeah, that's something we're often all saying, right? So that's a good phrase to work on connecting and pronouncing correctly. Great, thank you. Okay, we have a question about the word inauguration, inaugurate, inaugurated. Yeah, I do have a video for this, and we do have the inauguration coming up on Monday. So inauguration, inauguration. So this is a U that has a y sound. Inauguration. Inauguration. We're going to have that main stress, or the stress is on the second to last syllable. Inauguration. And then for inaugurate, stress is on the aug, so that's more like augurate. So watch out here that even though we stress on A and ation, we don't stress on A and 8. We don't do inaugurate. We do inaugurate. And then your last word was, for inaugurated, we just do aided for those final two syllables, inaugurated. So the inauguration will be on Monday. We will inaugurate the 54th president of the United States. He will be inaugurated in January. Okay, great. Really relevant word. And that reminds me, I'll probably post a link to that video on the community page so people can get a little help practicing that as they get ready for the inauguration next week. Okay. Okay. So you didn't mean an I, you meant an L. Yeah. Sorry, my bad. I thought about that too. But for both, I'm not sure. I still don't know where you would hear the L sound. Like you feel like it's in the O, like both, instead of both. It might just be as we go from the O to the TH, oath. That the O sounds a little bit like a dark L, like sometimes people will use an O instead of an L. So like if they were saying, for example, bowl, they might do kind of like bowl with like kind of a unfinished L. So you might be hearing that when you're hearing both, your ears taking that O and kind of imagining that you're hearing the L sound in bowl. Both. Yeah, I can see what you're saying. Like if people are really using a dark O there, both of them, I don't tend to do that in my speech, but certain vowel O's could sound a little bit like both. Yeah, I see what you're saying there, both. You don't really need that. Try to just do oath, like we have in the word oath and both. But yeah, that's definitely ringing a bell for me now that you point that out, that people tend to do that, can tend to do that. Good observation. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, we have a question about the word tonguing. Tonguing. So this is an example of like the word singing, where the G in the middle, the NG, does not have a G sound. So if I'm saying like some G's like hunger have an ng and a G sound, hunger, but in tonguing or singing, I have to go from the NG to another NG sound very quickly without much vowel. So this U is silent here. So we have the tongue sounds like the vowel and the NG sound. And then we have the ing sound, tonguing, nging. So the challenge there is really do the lifting for the NG, nging, and then dropping to the I sound and back up to the NG, nging, nging. You could try it with other words like singing, hanging, and then go to your word tonguing. Yeah, definitely a challenging one. Thank you for bringing that up. Okay. Question about the dark L, like in Bill or Carl. So when we have the L at the end of a word or name, we don't want to lift the whole tongue. When I'm saying like light or later, I'm putting the front of my tongue behind my teeth, and the back of my tongue can do whatever it wants. But when I'm saying Bill or Carl, especially on Carl, the back of my tongue needs to stay down as the front of my tongue lifts. Some people will do a dark L like Carl without lifting the tip of the tongue, or Bill. But to my ear, especially for non-native speakers, that ends up just sounding distorted like not a good L sound. So what I suggest is to get these correct is to practice them linking to a vowel first, like Bill is, so you get used to lifting the tongue for the light L as it links, and then you can go back to Bill is Bill. You can feel that ill, that you're making that dark L by dropping the back of the tongue and lifting the front of the tongue. Carl is Carl. Carl is going to be easier for you to say than just Carl. So practice with linking those L's, and then you can practice them unlinked. The other thing that you need to know for dark L is that in a lot of cases, you're going to have another sound. So in a word like feel, you're going from the E to a little bit of a schwa before your L. You're going to end up with a y sound there. So it sounds kind of like feel. Or if you're doing a rounded vowel, like in wool, or let's use a different one. Let's use pool, that's rounded. You're going to have the oo, the rounded oo sound. And then the ul sound with the schwa, or even an here. And as you move from that rounded sound to the unrounded you're going to have a w sound sneak in. So pool, feel. So a big part of getting your L sound correct is getting the vowel linking before it. I do have a number of videos talking about this, and I cover all of these details in my Sounds of English course on speechmodification.com, where you can look at L at the beginning, the middle, the ends of words, all the things you need to know to pronounce those correctly and easily. And also, I have a number of videos here on the channel as well to help you with that L at the ends of words, or the dark L. Thank you for that question. Okay, we'll take a few more and then we need to wrap up for today. It's great to see so many of you here week after week, and thank you for those of you watching the replay, leaving your questions and comments. I do really love having these classes because the things that you ask help me to know what videos to create and what topics to talk about in future classes. So keep your questions coming. I'll keep attending live, share these videos with your friends, like all of those things help the channel to grow. So thank you for your support. Okay, great. So you're following up with both, that you think both sounds like bowl. Yeah, okay. So I do think the TH sound typically has to be there for both. Both of them. Maybe what you're hearing is that people are not using the th, like both, but they might be saying both with a the sound, like we say breathe. So if you're hearing voicing there, you might be hearing that. I don't think that's too common with both. More common with, being with or with. For what I would say is check into those TH sounds, how you're hearing them, perceiving them, and how you're able to say them. That might be affecting your hearing of that word as well. Okay, we have a question about frailty. So frailty. Again, here we have that vowel to vowel linking before the L, so it's kind of like frailty. It's very quick though. I'm not gonna like go slowly. Frailty, not 3 syllables, but frailty. So we do a true T there after the L, frailty. Yeah, that's a good word that I don't think I've covered before. Thank you for bringing that up. Question about the word function. So in function, our letter N is an NG sound. That's often true before K in words like thank or trunk or funk. We're not doing funk, not a fun, an N sound, but a fung, back of the tongue lifts. So thinking about function. I think about it as having that K sound and then the SH sound. First syllable stress, function. You can think about this as being a little bit perhaps like a function. But I think it sounds better to think about making your K and your SH function. It doesn't function well. He's attending a function over the weekend. Yeah, great word. Thank you. Okay, we have a question about how to say this in this is a great idea, and whether it's this or dis. So typically, whenever we have TH in American English, we do use the TH sound. I'm not going to say dis. I'm always going to say this. In some places where I'm linking into the TH, it may sound a little muted, like this is a great idea. I'm not going to have to hold that this. At the same time, if you use dis with a true D that's bursting out, it's going to sound accented or different. There are a few dialects of American English where they say dis instead of this, but it's usually not considered standard English. And as a non-native speaker, I definitely recommend using the TH sound any place that you see it in American English, not using a D sound to substitute. Great question. Thank you. Okay, couple more and then we'll wrap up. We have a question about the word extracurricular. So extracurricular stresses on the ric syllable. I would say the challenge here is the length, making sure you're getting all the syllables. And then in curricular, what I often hear for an error is that people will say cooler or cooler here instead of kya. So it's a U that has a y sound. So it sounds like extra. The other thing is how we say the EX differs in different words. This is one where it's, if I'm just saying extra, it's stressed on ek, and we have the true vowel here. So it would be, in this case, it's going to be secondary stress, extra, curricular. Okay, a few little typos there. So think about that, like extra, curricular. So you can think of the R being here on cur or here on rick, or curric. You just want to connect that R connects those two syllables, curric, that it kind of links the two syllables together. Curricular, two C's. Sorry, misspelled it, didn't I? Oh no, two R's. Yeah, just one C. Okay, extracurricular. Thank you. Presenting me a challenge with writing out all the sounds for that and making sure I'm spelling it correctly. Okay, the double ing within the same word, having the own sound twice in the word, like in downtown. So the own sound. So in downtown, basically it's just the same as if I were saying the word down and the word town. There's no change there. The one thing to watch out here is that this doesn't really count as an NT. So sometimes if I'm saying like internet, a lot of native speakers will say that just as internet. They won't say that T in the NT combination in the middle. But here we stress on the town, downtown, town is stressed. So you do have to say your T. So you're just looking at own and own again, downtown, downtown. Yeah, no change, but if you're finding it difficult to go from the ow to the another ow, just take it one word at a time, down, town, and then try to speed up how quickly you say those words next to each other. Downtown, downtown, downtown. Great question. Thank you. Okay, so nice to see so many of you here today. Thank you for the wonderful questions. I hope that if you're watching this later on, you feel free to leave questions in a comment. I do always go back through all the comments on my videos and get back to you with resources. I'm really looking forward to next week, Tuesday's new video. Have some exciting new videos coming up with some really helpful information about particular words and phrases. So I hope you'll look at the community page and see what's coming up and come back to the channel on Tuesday for our Tuesday release. I'll be back again next Saturday with another live question and answer class, and I look forward to seeing you then. Thanks so much for being a part of the class today and practicing with me in my videos. I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com. Remember, if you want to sound like a native speaker, you can do it. speechmodification.com. Bye, everyone. Thanks for a great class.